So I've noticed that I'm genuinely interested in self-improvement and self-development. And of late I've started to question the idea of why is it the case that I just love reading about, watching videos on, and just thinking and implementing these tools and tips and techniques and strategies that all these self-help books and ideas just advise people on. So in this video I thought that I might as well put these things in perspective and think about what is the end goal, what is the end state, what is the holy grail of self-improvement. And I thought that three key phases really outline this entire approach or journey toward self-improvement and being a better version of yourself and being a productive individual. And they are the tourism phase, the hacks phase, and finally the meaning phase. I'll start with the tourism phase. One of the main reasons why someone may get interested in self-improvement is because a friend probably recommends a book to you, or you have a few problems in life and you feel that embarking on this journey of self-improvement might magically fix them, or you see a role model and you're inspired by them and you just want that playbook to life and do the things that that person is doing to just get success, whatever success might mean for you. And that's great. That's a very good position to be in and to start this journey of self-improvement. But I think the problem lies in the fact that most of the books and the knowledge that exists out there do not question your existing beliefs or ideas, but instead give you the tactics or the techniques and the tips to just magically reach your destination. And I feel that without questioning our individual ideas, beliefs, or really the fundamentally held notions of our worldview, it's really hard to just implement tools and techniques and expect results. Let's take what an average self-help book would teach you. It would probably say, do X repeatedly, continue doing X until you see results, and don't give up on doing X. And that X could be most likely a habit that book is talking about. But the problem with this chain of logic is that oftentimes we don't really know when to stop and when to question and when to really expect results. And even bringing up the idea of when do I see results is often seen as a form of heresy because you aren't supposed to focus on the results. You're supposed to enjoy the process. And that is what the market of self-improvement usually sells to people. I like to think about it as the entire idea of tourism itself. You see a few pictures of Hawaii and you want to go to Hawaii because it seems like a good destination place. I mean, assuming all this coronavirus thing is not there. And you want to go to Hawaii, but once you get there, you probably are not as satisfied as you thought you would be by taking that trip. Probably because the hotel wasn't as good, or the food wasn't as nice, or the water sports were closed, which you wanted to do. And so you come back rather disillusioned because you expected that the Hawaii trip would have been the panacea to all your problems and it would have been the complete magical de-stressor, and that's what the tourism industry had promised you. But you come back and you realize that, well, it's not really the case. And I think it's a similar situation with self-improvement. Most of the books promise you a magical, utopian end state, but most of the times we don't actually get to that end state. And so we have this subtle disillusionment with the entire idea of self-improvement, which leads us to the second phase, which is the hacks phase. And the hacks phase is the idea that once these initial books have not quite worked for us, we look for band-aid solutions to our existing problems. We are victims to the shiny new toy syndrome or the shiny new app syndrome, and we think that one app or one tool or that one productivity tool that's being marketed and being used by all these productivity gurus is the one solution to all our problems. And we begin to make statements like, Notion has actually changed my life in a lot of ways. And while I've said those things, and I still do believe that Rome and Notion are exceptionally great tools, I don't think that tools or techniques or apps or hacks or tips by themselves make up for the single path to your ideal state, your ideal destination. That's one thing that I've learned recently, that tools and tips and techniques by themselves don't really help us get anywhere. And thinking that tools and apps will allow us to reach our ideal state is only disillusioning ourselves because inherently they won't fix a fundamental intrinsic belief system that really needs to be fixed if we want to excel on this journey of self-improvement. And so the third phase is the phase of meaning. And it's at this stage that we begin to finally raise some deep, fundamental, philosophical and meta questions about life. We forget about the 7 habits of highly effective people, atomic habits, deep work, and how to win friends and influence people. We begin to ask ourselves deep, original questions like, what does it mean to live a good life? How to really build a fulfilling, meaningful life? And I think it's these questions and this phase that is really important in this entire journey of self-improvement, because I don't think, at least from my limited experience of this journey of productivity and self-improvement, that any particular book or idea by itself can really fix all our problems. I think that at the end of the day, we have to do a lot of groundwork to first discover what our intrinsic belief systems are. Then we can build off of there and come to these external ideas, books, concepts, notions, articles, podcasts, and this entire knowledge bank, and use it selectively to see whether something works for us or whether it doesn't. So if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this video, going by all the self-help and self-improvement advice that already exists out there, is that it's best to think of all the self-improvement and self-development advice out there as a suggestive hypothesis that you should examine and see for yourself, not as a definitive conclusion that you must internalize. So it's kind of like looking at all this knowledge bank as something that you can just test and try and experiment with, instead of looking at it as the be-all and the end-all of this entire journey of self-improvement. Because at the end of the day, I don't think that there is an end state, or rather the end state differs for each person, but really it's the process of the discovery of that end state and using the knowledge bank to help us reach that end state that makes the entire process of self-improvement more meaningful. So thank you so much for watching this video, and please feel free to share thoughts on this new concept that I've been toying around with, and I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.